Jaya Sadaguru Bhagavan भगवान् सदा शिव ऋषि नानाविधानि छन्दांसि श्री गुरु परमात्मा देवता अमीजं सशक्ति क्रों तिलकं श्री गुरु प्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगा आता ध्यानं हंसाभ्यां परिवृत्त पात्र कमले दिव्य जगत्कारणे विश्वकीर्णमनेकदेह निलये स्वच्छन्दममेच्छया तर्योतं परशम्भवं तु चरणं दीपाङ्कुरग्राहिणां प्रत्यक्षाक्षरविग्रहं गुरुपरं ध्यायेत् विभुं शाश्वतं मम चतुर्विधा पुरुषार्थसिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगा सुता उवाच कैलासशिखरे रम्ये भक्तिसन्धाननायकं प्रणम्य पार्वती भक्त्या शङ्करं पायपृच्छति श्रीदेवी उवाच ॐ नमो देवदेवेश परपरा जगद्गुरो सदाशिव महादेव गुरुदीक्षां प्रदेहि मे तेन मार्गेण वो स्वामी देहि ब्रह्मं मयो भवे त्वं कृपां कुरु मे स्वामी नमामि चरणौ तव ईश्वर उवाच मम रूपासि देवी त्वं त्वत्प्रीत्यर्थं वदाम्यहं लोकोपकारक प्रश्नो न केनापि कृता पुरा दुर्लभं कृष्णलोकेषु तत्सुरश्वा वदाम्यहं ब्रह्मणान्यात् सत्यं सत्यं वरानने वेदशास्त्रपुराणानि इतिहासादिकानि च मन्त्रयन्त्रादिविद्याश्च श्रुतिरुचातनारिकां शैव शाक्तागमादीनि अन्यानि विविराणि च अपभ्रंशकराणि जीवनं भ्रान्तते च साम् यज्ञोव्रतं तपोदानं तपस्तीर्थं तथैव च गुरुतत्त्वमविज्ञाय गुरस्ते चरते जनाः गुरुबुद्ध्या मनोनान्यं सत्यं सत्यं न संशयः कल्लमर्थं प्रयत्नस्तु कर्तव्यो हि मनीषिभिः गुरुविद्या जगन्माया देवी च ज्ञानसम्भवा आकाशेन गुरुशब्देन कथ्यते सर्वपापविशुद्धात्मा श्रीगुरुपादसेवनात् देहि ब्रह्म भवेद्यस्मात् स्वकृपार्थं वदामि ते गुरुपादाम्बुजं स्मृत्वा जलं शिरसि धारये सर्वतीर्थावगास्य सम्प्राप्नोति फलं नराः शोषणं पापपङ्कस्य दीपनं ज्ञानतेजसां गुरुपरोरकं सम्यक् संसारानवतारकम् अज्ञानमूलहरणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं गुरुपरोरकं पिबेत् गुरुपरोरकं पीत्वा गुरुरुचिष्टभोजनं गुरुमूर्ते सराध्यानं गुरुमन्त्रं सराजपेत् काशीशेषं च निवासो जानवी चरणोदकं गुरुविश्वेश्वर साक्षात् Pratitam Guru-Parurakam Yatu Kaya-Suk-Suk-Shayo Vachaha Kirtaraja Prayagascha Guru-Murte Namo Namah Guru-Murtim Smare Nityam Guru-Nama Sarajape Guru-Ranjam Bhagurvita Guru-Ranyana Bhavaye Guru-Vatra Siddha Brahma Abhyate Taprasadaka Guru-Dhyanam Sarakuryat Tulasmi Swapatiriyata Swashamam Cha Sajatim Cha Arkiti Pushti Vardhanam Etat Sarvam Pavityajya Guru-Ranyana Bhavaye Ananya Shintayanto Mam Sulamam Paramam Param Tasmat Sarva Prayanena Guru-Aradhanam Kuru Triloke Smuka Vaktaro Devadya Surapanada Guru-Vaktra Sita Vidya Guru-Vaktya Tulabhyate Ukarastvan Nakarashcha Ukarastija Uchate Ajnanagrasakam Brahma Guru-Evana Samshaya Ukara Pratamo Varno Mayadi Guna Asaka Ukara Dvitiyo Brahma Maya Bhranti Vinashanam Evam Guru Padam Shrishtam Devanam Api Durlabam Ahu Ganeseva Gandharvesha Prapujyate Duam Tesham Cha Sarvesham Nasitadvam Guru Param Asanam Shayanam Vasvam Bhusharam Vanarikam Sadhakena Pradatavyam Guru Santoshakarakam Guru Dharanam Karyam Swajivitam Nivedaye Karmana Manasa Vacha Nityamaradhaye Guru Kirgarandam Namaskurtya Nirlajo Guru Saniram Shariram Indriyam Pranam Sadgurubhyo Nivedaye Atmadararikam Sarvam Sadgurubhyo Nivedaye Dumikita Basmanishtam Durgandhi Malamutrakam Shishmarakam Tucha Mamsam Vanchayera Varanane Samsara Vrikshamarudha Antanto Narakarnave Yena Cheva Drita Sarve Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwara Gurudeva Para Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Etave Jagatameva Samsaranavasitave Abhave Sarva Vidyanam Shambhave Gurave Namah Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanajana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Tvam Pita Tvam Cha Me Mata Tvam Bandhustvam Cha Devata Samsara Pratibhurartam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yasatyena Jagat Satyam Yapakashena Bhaktitan Yaranandena Nandanti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yasya Stritya Satyamidam Ya Bhakti Vanarupata Viyam Putradiyak Vidya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yena Chetayate Hidam Chittam Chetayate Nayam Jagrat Swapna Shashupyari Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah यस्य ज्ञानानिलं विश्वं तादृशं दीनभेदता सरेखरूपरूपाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य मतं तस्य मतं मातं यस्यानवेदसा अनन्यभावभावाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य कारणरूपस्य कार्यरूपेण भात्या कार्यकारणरूपाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नानारूपमिदं सर्वं न केनाप्यस्ति भिन्नता कार्यकारणता चैव तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यदान्द्रिकमलद्वन्द्वं द्वन्द्वतापनिवारकं कारकं सर्वरापाभ्यः श्रीगुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् श्रीगुरुदे गुरुश्राता गुरुप्रदेशिवो नहि तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन श्रीगुरुं शरणं व्रजे वन्दे गुरुपरद्वन्द्वं वाङ्मनश्चित्तगोचरं श्वेतरक्तप्रभावीनां शिवशक्त्यात्मकं वरम् रूपारं च गुणातीतं रूपारं रूपवर्जितं गुणातीतस्वरूपं च योरजत् सद्गुरुस्मृतम् अत्रिनेत्र सर्वसाक्षी अचतुर्बाहुरचिता अचतुर्वदनो ब्रह्मा श्रीगुरुकार्तिकप्रिये अयमयाञ्जलिर्वादो दयासागरवृद्धये यदनुव्रतो जन्तुः चित्रसंसारमुक्तिवान् श्रीगुरो परमं रूपं विवेकचक्षुषोमृतं मन्दभाग्यानपश्यन्ति अन्धसुमञ्जलेशाये प्रक्षिप्यते मुखरितो मरुपे पुडेष्ठा जागर्ति अत्र भगवान् गुरुचक्रवर्ती ईश्वराय प्रणनाथन नित्यसाक्षी श्रीनाथारि गुरुत्रयं गणपतिं एतत्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं वरयुगं धृतिक्रमं मण्डलम् वीराजष्टचतुष्टशास्त्रिनवकं वीरावलि पञ्चकं श्रीमामालिनिमन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरुं मण्डलम् अभ्यस्ते सकलै सुधीविगमण्डले व्याधिप्रलयदुष्करे प्राणायामशतेरनेककरणे दुःखात्मके दुर्जये यस्मिन्नाविदिते विनाश्यति बले आयुस्वयं तत्क्षणात् प्राप्तुं तत्सहजं स्वभावमनिशां सेवात्ममेकं गुरुम् स्वदेशिकस्यैव शरीरचिन्तनं भवेदनतस्य शिवस्य चिन्तनं स्वदेशिकस्यैव कीर्तनं भवेदनतस्य शिवस्य कीर्तनं यत्पररेणुकणिका तापि संसारवारिधे सेतुबन्धाय तेनाथं देशिकं तमुपास्महे यस्मादनुग्रहं लब्ध्वा मातृज्ञानमुत्सृजे तस्मै श्रीदेशिकेन्द्राय नमः सर्वाभीष्टसिद्धये पादब्जं सर्वसंसार रावणलाविनाशकं ब्रह्मरन्ध्रेषितं भोजा मध्यस्थं चन्द्रमण्डले अकर्तारि तिरकाब्जे सहस्रदलमण्डले हंसपार्श्वत्रिकोणे च स्मरेतन्मध्यगं अनिताशेषपुष्टिर् निखिलानिगमादृष्टि सम्भरं व्यर्थदृष्टिः अवगुणा परिमार्ष्टिस् तत्परार्थैकदृष्टिर् भावगुणा परामेष्टिर् मोक्षमार्गैकदृष्टिः सकला भुवनारङ्गा स्थापना स्तम्भयस्तिः सकरुणारसावृष्टिः तद्वमाला समष्टिः
सकला समया सृष्टिः
साचिरानन्ददृष्टिः निवासतो मयि नित्यं श्रीगुरुदिव्यदृष्टिः अग्निशुद्धः समं चातु ज्वालपरिचकारिका मन्त्रराजामिमं मन्ये पाणिसम्पातमृत्युजा तरे जते तने जते तद्दुरे तत्समीपके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वस्य भायथा अजोऽमाजरोऽहं च अनादिनिधनः स्वयम् अविकारस्थिरानन्द आर्यात्मतो महान् अपूर्वाणां परं नित्यं स्वयं ज्योतिर्निरामयम् विरजं परमाकाशं ध्रुवमानन्दमव्ययम् श्रुतिप्रत्यक्षमैतेयम् अनुमानश्चतुष्टयम् यस्य चात्मा तपो वेद देशिकं च सरस्वने मननं यद्भवं कार्यं तद्वदामि महामते साधुत्वं च मया दृष्ट्वा त्वयि तिष्ठति संव्रताम् अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तव्येन चराचरम् तत्परं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः सर्वशुद्धिशिरोरत्ना विराजिता पदाम्बुजा वेदान्तम्बुजसूर्यो तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य स्मरणमत्रेण ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं य एव सर्वसम्प्राप्तिः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमतीतं निरञ्जनं नारबिन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः स्थावरं जङ्गमं चैव तथा चैव चराचरं व्याप्तं येन जगत्सर्वं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानशक्ति समारूढस्तत्त्वमाला विभूषिता भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाताय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अनेकजन्म संरप्तं सर्वकर्मविदायिने स्वात्मज्ञानप्रभावेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वं ज्ञानात्परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मन्नाथ श्रीजगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्रीजगद्गुरु मम आत्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ध्यानमूलं गुरुमूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरुपदम् मन्त्रमूलं गुरुवाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुकृपा गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुपरमदेवतं गुरुपरतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः सप्तसागरपर्यन्तं तीर्थस्नानादिकं फलं गुरुरङ्घ्रिपयो बिन्दु सहस्रांशेन दुर्लभम् गुरुरुष्टे गुरुश्रात्ता गुरुरुष्टेन कश्च वाचना तस्मात् सर्व प्रयत्नेन श्री गुरुं शरणं व्रजे गुरुरेव जगत् सर्वं ब्रह्म विष्णु शिवात्मकं गुरुपरतरं नास्ति तस्मात् सम्पूजयेत् गुरुं ज्ञानविज्ञानसहितं लभ्यते गुरुभक्तितः गुरुपरतरं नास्ति ध्येयोऽसौ गुरुमार्गिभिः यस्मात् परतरं नास्ति नेति नेतीति वैष्णुतिः मनसा वाचसा चैव नित्यमाराधयेत् गुरुं गुरो कृपा प्रसादेन ब्रह्म विष्णु सदाशिवा समर्था प्रभवादो च केवलं गुरुसेवया देवकिन्नरगन्धर्वः पितरो यक्षचारणाः मुनयोऽपि न जानन्ति गुरुशुश्रूषणे विधिं महाहङ्कारगर्वेण तापवेद्यामलान्विता संसारकुहरवर्ते दत्तयन्त्रे यथा गता नमोकादेव गन्धर्वः पितरो यक्षकिन्नराः ऋषयः सर्वसिद्धाश्च गुरुसेवा परं मुखात् ज्ञानं शृणु महादेवे सर्वानन्दप्रदायकं सर्वसौख्यकरं नित्यं मुक्तिविदायकम् श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं स्मरामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं वदामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं नमामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं भजामि ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदि साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुब्रह्मणमम्यम् हृदम्बुजे कर्णिकमध्य संस्थे सिंहासने संस्थित दिव्यमूर्तिं ध्यायेत् गुरुं चन्द्रकलाप्रकाशम् चित्पुस्तकाभीष्टवरं दरानां श्वेताम्बरं श्वेतविलेपपुष्पं मुक्ताविभूषं मुनितं विनेत्रं वामाङ्गविद्यासिद्ध्यदिव्यशक्तिं मन्दस्मितं सान्द्रकपाणिरानाम् आनन्दमानन्दकरं प्रसन्नं ज्ञानस्वरूपं निजबोधयुक्तं योगीन्द्रमेड्यं भवरोगवैद्यं श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि यस्मिन् सृष्टिस्थितिध्वंसा निग्रहानुग्रहात्मकं कृत्यं पञ्चवीरं शाश्वत भासते तं नमाम्यहम् प्रातः शिरसि शुक्लाब्जे त्रिनेत्रं द्विभुजं गुरुं वरभययुतं शान्तं स्मरेतं नामपूर्वकम् न गुरोरधिकं न गुरोरधिकं न गुरोरधिकं न गुरोरधिकं शिवशासनता 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 त्रिरमेव शिवं त्रिरमेव शिवं त्रिरमेव शिवं त्रिरमेव शिवं मम शासनतो मम शासनतो मम शासनतो मम शासनता एवमिदं गुरुं यात्वा ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं तत्सद्गुरुप्रसादेन मुक्त त्वामिति भावये गुरुदर्शितमार्गेण मनःशुद्धिं तु कारये अनित्यं कान्दये सर्वं यत्किञ्चिदात्मगोचरम् ज्ञेयं सर्वस्वरूपं च ज्ञानं च मन उच्यते ज्ञानमेया समकुर्यात् नान्यपन्था द्वितीयका एवं श्रुत्वा महादेवी गुरुनिन्दं करोति यः सायते नरकं घोरं यावच्चन्द्रदिवाकरो यावत्कल्पान्तको देहः तावदेवा गुरुं स्मरेत् गुरुलोको न कर्तव्यः स्वच्छन्दो यदि वा भवेत्
ओंकारेण न वक्तव्यं वाग्यै शिष्यै कथञ्चन
गुरुरात्रेण वक्तव्यम् असत्यं च करार्चना गुरुत्वं कृत्य गुरुं निर्जित्य वादचा अरण्ये निर्जले देशे सा भवेत् ब्रह्मराक्षसा
मुनिभिः पन्नगैर्वापि सुरैर्वा शापितो यदि
कालमृत्युभयाद्वापि गुरुरक्षति पार्वती आशक्ता ईश्वराद्याश्च आशक्ता मुनयश्च गुरुशापेन ते शीघ्रं छायं यान्ति न संशयः
मन्त्रराजमिदं देवी
गुरुरित्यक्षरद्वयम् श्रुतिवेदार्थवाक्येन गुरु साक्षात् परं श्रुतिस्मृति अभिज्ञाय केवलं गुरुसेवकाः ते वै सन्न्यासिना प्रोक्ता इतरे वेषधारिणां नित्यं ब्रह्म निराकारं निर्गुणं बोधये परं सर्वं ब्रह्म निराभासं दीपो दीपान्तरं यथा गुरु कृपा प्रसादेन अमरमं निरीक्षये हरिणा गुरुमार्गेण स्वात्मज्ञानं प्रवर्तते ब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तं परमात्मस्वरूपकं स्थावरं जङ्गमं चैव प्रणमामि जगन्मयम् वन्देऽहं सच्चिदानन्दं वेदातीतं सदा गुरुं नित्यं पूर्णं निराकारं निर्गुणं स्वात्मसंस्थितं परतरं ध्येयं नित्यमानन्दकारकं हृदयाकाशमध्यस्थं शुद्धस्फटिकसानिभम् स्फटिकाप्रतिमारूपं दृश्यते दर्पणे यथा तत्त्वमणि चिराकारम् आनन्दं सहमित्युता अङ्गुष्ठमन्त्रपुरुषं दायकाशन्मयं हृदि तत्र स्फुरति भावो यः शृणुतं कथयं यम् अगोचरं तथागम्यं नामरूपाविवर्जितं निःशब्दं च विजानीयात् स्वभावं ब्रह्म पार्वती
यथा गन्धस्वभावेन
कर्पूरकुसुमारिषु शीतोष्णारि स्वभावेन तथा ब्रह्म च शाश्वतम् स्वयं तथा विदो भूत्वा स्थातव्यं यत्र कुत्रचित् चित्तब्रह्म तत्र ज्ञानं भवति तादृशम् गुरुज्ञानं तथा कृत्वा स्वयं ब्रह्ममयो भवेत् अन्ते परे तथा रूपे मुक्तो सो नात्र संशयः श्रीपार्वती उवाच पिण्डं किन्तु महादेव परं किं समुदाहृतं रूपातीतं उपाध्याय शङ्करा
श्रीमहादेव
उवाच
पिण्डं कुण्डलिनी शक्ति परमहंसावतारतां रूपं बिन्दुरतिज्ञेयं रूपातीतं निरञ्जनम् पिण्डे मुक्ता परे मुक्ता रूपे मुक्ता वरानने रूपातीते प्रिये मुक्ता स्ते मुक्ता नात्र संशया स्वयं सर्वमयो भूत्वा परं तत्त्वं विलोकये परतरतरं नान्यत् सर्वमेतान् निरालयाम् तस्यावलोकनं प्राप्य सर्वसङ्गा विवर्जिता एकाकी निष्ठुरा शान्तः तिष्ठासि तत्प्रसादतः लब्धं वा धनलब्धं वा स्वल्पं वा बहुलं तथा निष्कामेनैव भोक्तव्यं सदा सन्तुष्टते च सा सर्वज्ञा परमित्याहुर्देहि सर्वमयो बुधा सरानन्द सराशान्त रामते यत्र कुत्रचित् यत्रैव तिष्ठते सोऽपि सदेशा पुण्यभाजनम् मुक्तस्य लक्षणं देवी तवाग्रे कथितं मया उपदेशस्तथा देवी गुरुमार्गेण मुक्तिदा गुरुभक्तिस्तथा ध्यानं सकलं तव कीर्तितम् अनेनाय भवे कार्यं तद्वदामि महामते लोकोपकारकं देवी लौकिकं न भावये लौकिकात् कर्मणो यासि ज्ञानहीना भवार्णवम् ज्ञाने तु भावये सर्वं कर्मनिष्कर्म यत्कृतम् इदं तु भक्तिभावेन पठते शृणुते यदि लिखित्वा प्ररतव्यं तत्सर्वं सफलं भवेत् गुरुगीतात्मकं देवे शुद्धतत्त्वं मयोदितं भवव्याधि विनाशार्थं स्वयमेव जपे सदा गुरुगीताक्षरैकं तु मन्त्रराशामिमं जपे अन्ये च विविधां मन्त्राः फलं दारन्ति षोडशीम् अनन्तं फलमाप्नोति गुरुगीता जपेन तु सर्वपापप्रशमनं सर्वदारिद्र्यनाशनं कालमृत्युभयहरं सर्वसङ्कटनाशनं यक्षराक्षसभूतानां चोरव्याघ्रभयापहम् महाव्याधिहरं सर्वं विभूतिसिद्धिदं भवेत् आत्मामोहनं वश्यं स्वयमेव जपे सदा कष्टस्थाने च दारिद्र्यम् आशने रोगसम्भवम् वीर्यं दुःखमाप्नोति कष्टे भवति निष्फलम् कृष्णार्जुने ज्ञानसिद्धिर्मोक्षश्री व्याघ्रचर्मणि कुशासने ज्ञानसिद्धिः सर्वसिद्धिस्तु कम्बले कुशैवा दुर्वया देवी आसने शुभ्रकम्बले उपविश्य ततो देवी तपेदेग्राकं मानसा ध्येयं शुक्लं च शान्त्यर्थं पश्येवत्तासनं प्रिये अभिचारे कृष्णवर्णं पीतवर्णं धनागमे उत्तरे शान्तिकामस्तु पश्ये पूर्वामुखो जपे दक्षिणे मारणं प्रोक्तं पश्चिमे च धनागमम् मोहनं सर्वभूतानां बन्धमोक्षाकरं भवेत्
कर्मनाशनं चैव सुकर्मा सिद्धिदं भवेत् असिद्धं साधये कार्यं नवग्रहभयापहं दुःस्वप्ननाशनं चैव सुस्वप्नफलदायकम् पुत्रदाम् अवेदव्यं करं श्रीणां सौभाग्यदायकं सदा आयुरारोग्यमैश्वर्य पुत्रपौत्रवर्धनम् अकामता श्रीविरागा जपान् मोक्षमवाप्नुयात् अवेदव्यं सकामात् लाभते चान्यजन्मनि सर्वदुःखं भयं विघ्नं नाशयेत् चापहारकम् सर्वबाधाप्रशमनं धर्मकाममोक्षदं यं यं चिन्तयते कामं तं तं प्राप्नोति निश्चितम् कामितस्य कामधेनु कल्पना कल्पपारपा चिन्तामणि चिन्तितस्य सर्वमङ्गलकारकम् मोक्षहेतुर्जपे नित्यं मोक्षश्रियमवाप्नुयात् भोगकामो जपे योगे तस्य कामफलप्रदम् जपे च तत्सुरश्च गणपत्यश्च वैष्णवा देवश्च सिरिदं देवी सत्यं सत्यं न संशयः आतकाम्य जपे स्थानम् अत्ययामि वरानने सागरे वा सरितीरे अथवा हरालये देवालयेषु मे वचे च धातृमूले वा माते वृन्दावने तथा पवित्रे निर्मले स्थाने नित्यानुष्ठानतोऽपि वा निर्वेदनेन मौनेन जपामि तं समाचरे श्मशाने भूमौ तु वन्तमुल्लञ्चिके तथा सिद्ध्यन्ति दोतरे मूले चित्तवृक्षससानिधौ गुरुपुत्रो वयं मूर्खास् तस्य सिद्ध्यन्ति नान्यथा शुभकर्माणि सर्वाणि दीक्षाव्रता तपंसि च संसारमलनाशार्थं भावपाशानिवृत्तये गुरुगीतां वसि स्नानं तद्वाद्या कुरुते सदा स एव च गुरुसाक्षात् सदा स ब्रह्मवित्तमः तस्य स्थानानि सर्वाणि पवित्राणि न संशयः सर्वशुद्ध पवित्रोऽसौ स्वभावाद्यत्र तिष्ठति तत्र देवागणा सर्वे क्षेत्रे कृते वसन्ति आसनस्थशयनो वा तच्चतिष्ठं वदन्नपि अश्वरूढो गजारूढः सुप्तो वा जागृतोऽपि वा शुचिस्मश्च सदाज्ञानी गुरुगीता जपेन तु तस्य दर्शनमात्रेण पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते समुद्वेच्य यथा तोयं क्षीरे क्षीरं घृते घृतं विने कुम्भे यथा काष्ठात् तथा परं पद्मनि तत्रैव ज्ञानी जीवात्मा परमात्मनि लीयते यज्ञेन रमते ज्ञानी यत्र तत्र दिवानिशाम् एवं विदो महामुक्तः सर्वदा वर्तते बुधा तस्य सर्वप्रयत्नेन भावभक्तिं करोति यः सर्वसन्देहरहितो मुक्तो भवति पार्वती भुक्तिमुक्तिदायकः
जिह्वाग्रे च सरस्वती अन्येन प्राणिना सर्वे गुरुगीता जपेन तु सर्वसिद्धिं प्राप्नुवन्ति मुक्तिं न संशयः सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं धर्म्यं सत्यं मयोदितं गुरुगीता समं नास्ति सत्यं सत्यं वरानने एको देव एक धर्म एकनिष्ठा परं तपः गुरुपरतरं नान्यत् नास्ति तत्त्वं गुरुपरम् माता धन्या पिता धन्यो धन्यो वंशकुलं तथा धन्या च वसुधा देवी गुरुभक्ति सुदुर्लभा शरीरम् इन्द्रियं प्राणान् सर्वस्वजनबान्धवा माता पिता कुलं देवी गुरुरेव न संशयः अकल्पजन्मलाकोट्या जपव्रता तपक्रिया तत्सर्वं सफलं देवी गुरुसन्तोषमात्रतः विद्यातपोबलेनैव मन्दभाग्याश्च यन्नराः गुरुसेवा न कुर्वन्ति सत्यं सत्यं वरानने ब्रह्म विष्णु महेशाश्च देवर्षि पितृकिन्नराः सिद्धचारण यक्षाश्च अन्येऽपि मुनयो जनाः गुरुभावः परं तीर्थम् अन्यतीर्थं निरर्थकम् सर्वतीर्थाश्रयो देवी पादाङ्गुष्ठं च वर्तते जपेन जयमाप्नोति चानन्तफलमाप्नुयात् हीनकर्म त्यजन् सर्वं स्थानानि च रमाणि च जपं हीनासनं कुर्वन् हीनकर्मफलप्रदं गुरुगीतां प्रयाणेव सङ्ग्रामेऽनुपसङ्कते जपं जयमवाप्नोति मरणे मुक्तिदायकम् सर्वकर्म च सर्वत्र गुरुपुत्रस्य सिद्ध्यते इदं व्यासनोवाचं तवाग्रे कथितं मया सुगोप्यं च प्रयाणेन मम त्वं च प्रियात्विति स्वामी मुख्य गणेशादि विष्णुवादिनां च पार्वतीं मनसापि न वक्तव्यं सत्यं सत्यं वदाम्यहम् अतीव पक्वचित्ताय श्रद्धाभक्तियुताय च वक्तव्यमिदं देवी ममात्मासि सदा प्रिये अभक्ते वञ्चके धूर्ते आकटे नास्तिके नरे मनसापि न वक्तव्यं गुरुगीता करार्चना संसारसागरसमुद्रगणैकमन्त्रं ब्रह्मादिदेवमुनिपूजितसिद्धमन्त्रं दारिद्र्यदुःखं भवरोगविनाशमन्त्रं वन्दे महाभयहरं गुरुराजमन्त्रम् श्रीस्कन्दपुराणे उत्तरखण्डेश्वर पार्वती संवादे गुरुगीता समाप्ता श्री गुरुदेव चरणार्पणमस्तु नित्यानन्दाय गुरवे शिष्य संसारहरिणे भक्तकाये कदेहाय नमस्ते चित्सदात्मने निर्वासनं निराकाङ्क्षं सर्वदोषाविवर्जितं निरालम्बं निरातङ्कं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् निर्ममं निराकारं समलोष्टाश्मकञ्चनं समदुःखसुखमधीरं
शीरममानम् एकविघ्नाय सर्वताम् वितरागभयाक्रोधम् विद्यानन्दं नमम्यहम् अहं देहो न मे देहो जीवो नामामि चेत् एवं विघ्नाय संदृष्टम् आवरुतं नमम्यहम् समस्तं कल्पनामन्त्रम् यममुक्ता सनातनम् इति विघ्नाय संतृप्तम् विद्यानन्दं नमम्यहम् ज्ञाननिदाघकर्माणम् कामसङ्कल्पवर्जितम् हेयोपारे ऐनान्तम् आवरुतं नमम्यहम् स्वभावेनैव यो योगी सुखं भोगं न वंशति यदृशालाभसन्दृष्टम् नैव निन्दा प्रशंसाभ्याम् यस्य विक्रियते मनः आत्मक्रीडामात्मानम् आवरुतं नमम्यहम् नित्यं जागरावस्थायां तन्नवद्योऽवतिष्ठते निश्चिन्तं चिन्मयमानम् नित्यानन्दं नमम्यहम् द्वेषं नास्ति प्रियं नास्ति नास्ति अस्य शुभाशुभम् धीरज्ञानविनम्रम् आवरुतं नमम्यहम् जगपश्यन्ति चिन्मयम् नित्ययुक्तं गुणचेतं नित्यानन्दं नमम्यहम् यो हि दर्शनमात्रेण भवते भुवनत्रयम् पावनं जगमं तीर्थम् आवरुतं नमम्यहम् सर्वपूज्यं सर्वपूर्णम् अखण्डानन्दविग्रहम् स्वप्रकाशं चिदानन्दं नित्यानन्दं नमम्यहम् निष्कलं निष्क्रियं शान्तं निर्मलं परममृतम् गणेशात्मनिवसीनाम् आवरुतं नमम्यहम् प्रेमपूर्णं सुदर्शनं ज्ञानपूर्णं कृपामूर्तिम् नित्यानन्दं नमम्यहम् गुरुजना सज्जनो भूयात् सज्जना शान्तिमाप्नुयात् शान्तो मुच्येत बन्धेभ्यो मुक्ताश्चान्यान् विमोचयेत् स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण नमः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी शस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं शोभरहितो ब्रह्मणः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् दुर्गाणि सर्वभद्राणि पश्यतु सर्वकामानवाप्नोतु सर्वसर्वत्र नन्दतु स्वस्ति मातृता जयेणोऽस्तु स्वस्ति गोभ्यो जगते पुरुषेभ्यः विश्वं सुभूतं सुविरात्रं नोऽस्तु योगे वदृशे सूर्याम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः sada Guru ki karun sada Guru ki pyare Guru var ki arati karu Guru var ki Jaya Gurudeva Amala Vinashi Jnana Rupa Arakhe Vasi Jaya Gurudeva Amala Vinashi Jnana Rupa Arakhe Vasi Pada Guru Nanak Maharaj. Sadhgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai. Good morning, everyone who's here in person, and all of those of you who are joining us via YouTube, the live stream. Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning satsang here. This is number 3 of Gurudev's visit here, and each week it's been an amazing weekend listening to his words, and as he shared on the first Sunday, he talked a lot about fear. And then last week we heard about judge nothing, forgive everyone, and love everyone, love everything. So each week we seem to receive different gems in honor of the yoga, in honor of Baba, and of Gurudev's own wisdom that he brings to the satsang so that we can uplift our minds, and so that all of us, especially in these times that we are all facing now, we can become steady within ourselves, steady within our own minds, and keep the mind elevated so that we can continue to walk the path of yoga and through life with joy and with lots of love. And this past Friday evening, and October 31st, so October 2nd and October 31st, we honor and celebrate and commemorate Baba Muktananda's Mahasamadhi anniversary. And for all of us who shared time in his company, there are no words. There is nothing that we can say that it has a beginning or an end to his grace and to all that he bestowed upon everyone, not just those who met him, but upon this entire world. And so we're very, very grateful for everything that he brought to the West, everything that he shared with humanity during his lifetime, and the grace and the teachings, and most of all, his magnificent presence, which, again, that palpable grace, that palpable love that he gave to every single person who came to him. And so today, as part of our satsang, we're going to be having the kirtan, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And in those days, Baba used to, every single evening, that was part of the evening program. And the men would sing Hare Rama, the women would sing Hare Krishna, and it literally was like a cradle of comfort, a cradle of grace, and it was a lullaby that just went men, women, Krishna, gopis, and it was just a lullaby that comforted every single individual and truly gave us the experience of the self, that which he talked about every single day. So before that, we'll be hearing from Gurudev, and I'm not quite sure what the subject is for today, but it'll be wonderful for all of us. So again, everybody, welcome to our Sunday morning satsang. And as we open our hearts and our minds and our souls to listen to that great wisdom which resonates and will remain with us even when we go home today. So Sadhgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.
Muktanandaya Gurave Shishya Samsara Harine Bhakta Kave Kadehaya Namaste Chitsadatmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadhgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.
With great respect and love, I would like to welcome everyone here to Satsang. Many thanks to Devyani for her warm words on this cold day. And I'll begin by saying that it took me 58 years to get out of the box. As I watch individuals wherever in the world, I realize that as we are born out of the womb, as we grow up in society, as we live with family, with friends, we all get put inside a box. Whether we put inside our own box, or whether society puts us inside a box, whether family puts us inside a box, we end up inside a box. Now, what is that box? I don't know. But the way I look at it, it's, you can't hear? I have to speak louder, okay? I'll do that. That's better. Better? Actually, this is a complaint all sound people have with me and my listeners. I speak soft. That's part of my box. I don't yell. I don't try to prove anything. I don't think that that's important in life. Because I meet such people, dominating is how I look at it, or aggressive is the other word. And I've come to my conclusion that none of that is necessary. You know, it's just one more issue of life that I have to deal with. Myself, you, us, we. So, as Devyani said, this Friday, the 2nd of October, was the 38th day from when Baba Muktananda left his body. According to the solar calendar or the Gregorian calendar, or according to the calendar everybody knows. It was also a full moon. And it happened to be a full moon, but because the Indian calendar has an extra month, the actual full moon that we will celebrate will be on the 31st of October. There's another full moon in this month. So that's the day we have our intensive, and that's the day we will celebrate. So, trying to encapsulate Baba Muktananda into words. Any great sage that has lived upon this earth, it's not easy to express in words what that sage wished, wanted. Because we only listen to their words. We were fortunate if we met them in person. We were fortunate if we actually got to be with them and realize out of our own box what he, she was trying to share with us. For me, this upcoming week, 58 years of the existence of this physical body. Then I asked myself over this past week, how old would the subtle body and causal body be? That's a question that came to my mind, because we always celebrate the birthday of the physical form. But how old is that subtle and causal form, the sukshma and the karana, sharira, body, that has been traveling in the various bodies that we are reborn into. And so in that subtle body, we carry lots and lots and lots of impressions that we don't even know. Many people tell me, if only I could understand the karma, then I'll be such a good person. And I ask them, which karma are you talking about? Because they talk about past lives. So I tell them, forget past lives. Let's look at just this life. We may not remember the first 5, 6, 7 years. That's when my memories begin, of first grade and so on. I don't remember much before that. So at least from first grade onwards, most of us remember how we've been, how we've acted, how we've reacted, what we have done, all of the things people have done to us and we have done to people. So let's just take that much karma, forgetting past lives. They say, well, that's not enough. I say, why not? In my case, that's about 52 years of baggage, if we want to look at it that way. Baba Muktananda gave a very simple message: see God in each other. God dwells within you as you. On a theoretical level, when you talk to anybody who is on the spiritual path, they will give you this teaching. And those who've never heard it go, wow, I am liberated. For the moment. But then you meet them and deal with them on a human level. I don't need to tell you. What happened to see God in each other? What happened to God dwells within you as you? Baba believed in it. Baba said it, Baba taught it, Baba shared it. But what about you? Think about it. It's a big question in my own mind, because for me, it's 38 years after Baba Muktananda left his form of doing this work in the way we are doing. And the expression of it is what, for me, I find real to me at this time. We went through, as I thought about it, 20 years with Baba Muktananda, 3 years with Guru Mai Swami Chidvilasananda, and then a couple of years with my parents and trying to figure out what is life, what am I supposed to do, what is supposed to happen. And then along the way, I met Mahamandeleshwar Swami Brahmananji Maharaj, who was a great support, a great pillar for 20 plus years. He was there egging me on, come on, do it, you can do it. And I'd be like, Maharaj, for who? For what? And here we are today in 2020 in a very unique situation where I tell people, I, for the last few years, talked about coming together, loving each other as human beings, being nice to each other. And these past few months is the exact opposite of that. It's like stay away from each other. Yeah? We don't even know whom to trust anymore because I don't know who I'll get the sickness from. I don't know if I'm carrying it myself. So that was the fear that we talked about, as Devani said, on the first day. And then about this love all, judge no one, forgive everyone. There's a poem of Kabir Sahib which expresses a little bit of, or I understand a little bit of what he wishes to say. Kachu lena na dena, magan rehna. There's nothing to give, there is nothing to take. Because our whole life, when we think of this whole concept of karma, it's about what will I give, and if I give, then what will I get? Because whenever we talk to anybody and you say, be kind, be loving, then they say, what will I get? But Kabir says here, there's nothing to give, there's nothing to receive. Simply remain absorbed. Simply remain in that space of divinity. Panch tattva ka banave pinjra, ya mein bol hai meri maina. This human body, which he calls a cage, box, cage, however we want to see it, is made of the 5 elements. And in this sits that which speaks, meaning consciousness. So for as long as that consciousness exists in this body, this is real. But when that consciousness departs from this physical form, then no longer does anybody keep this physical form. This is either cremated or buried or thrown in the water, whatever it is that we wish to do with this physical body. Gahari nadiya nava purani khevatiya se mile rahena. When we look at life, life is like an ocean, is how the sages talk about it. And it's deep. When we begin to think about life and we begin to think about, I want to fix something or I want to do something, the question arises, where do I begin? Because it's so fathomless. And so it says, Gari Nadiya Nav Purani. This body or this boat is old. Meaning we have so much baggage, so much stuff in it. So therefore, hold on to the boatman. So in case anything happens to the boat, hold on to the boatman. Now, whoever you consider to be the boatman, here Kabir talks either about the Lord or about the Guru, depending on how our relationship is. Hold on to that boatman. Tera sahib hai tuzmahi, Sakhi khol kar dekh naina. Kabir says that the Lord you seek is within you. That divinity that you seek is within you. Simply open your eyes. Not these physical eyes, but the inner eye. So when I close my eyes, these physical eyes, what I wish to do or would like to do is open the inner eye. And he says, you will see that that divinity is there within you. Kahat Kabir suno bhai sadho. Kahat Kabir suno bhai sadho. Hari ke charan mein lipat rehna. Kabir addresses everyone as a noble person. He says, oh, noble person, listen. Always cling to the feet of the Lord. Always hold on to the feet of the Lord. It's a poem, I think it's all these teachings I find to be very simple. We make it complicated. Now we want to understand what is old, what is the cage, what is the Guru. And over this past week, as I thought about this upcoming Sunday, and I thought, okay, when we think about or talk about what is the Guru and what is all of this, I thought even to experience that grace in life, there has to be surrender, there has to be commitment, there has to be trust. And this is true for any relationship in life. No relationship bears fruit unless these things take place. Surrender, commitment, trust, love, all of these things. Otherwise, it's just a one-way street. The other person is giving, the other person is being nice, and we are caught in the game of our own box. Think about it. I know as I watch and meet many people, everybody thinks they are out of the box. And as I have often shared, 2 a.m. or whatever the time is when somebody's fast asleep, go and pinch them. Throw a glass of water on their face, depending on your relationship with them. And you will find out how much out of the box that person is. How much understanding, how much knowledge, how much wisdom, how much has he understood what Kabir says. There's nothing to give, there's nothing to take, simply remain absorbed. You can all just imagine the reaction of that person. Call somebody. Okay, in today's time we could say call somebody. Their phone rings at 2 a.m., they're fast asleep. That's if their phone has not been put off or in airplane mode or left somewhere else. Because I know many people sleep with it next to them just in case they don't want to miss anything at night. I think nothing's going to happen in 6. First of all, we have to hope that we wake up the next morning, in today's condition especially. But look at the amount of fear we have that we sleep with that thing next to us. And I ask people, what can I even do? Really? How much can I really do? If something is to happen, it will happen. And I think these 6 months, 8 months that we've gone through the situation, we're looking at death as if it's the most unique thing that has happened. We have nurses and doctors here, I'm sure, in the audience. We're looking at, oh my God, he died. Oh my God, she died. As if before 2020, nobody ever died. Seriously, when I hear this, oh my God. I've heard this since birth. Each time we celebrate a birthday, we add a year. Swami Brahmananji Maharaj would say, look at it the other way. You've lost a year. And in today's time, we've lost hair, we have gray hair, we've lost teeth. I mean, all this happened before too, but because we are more conscious today, especially now that everybody is on the camera, whether they want to or not. So I came up with a funny idea. I'm a funny man, so. Because everything is virtual now, right? Life, I don't know, life is virtual. So I thought, since everybody is watching from wherever they are, we always say, hi, happy birthday. How are you? What's going on? So I thought you could make a funny video and email it instead of calling. Just be yourself. Just think about how satsang has affected you. Don't be silly or stupid. I'm not asking you to do that. Because some people will do that. They say, you said be funny. Be funny means be funny in a good way, in an uplifting way. Think for a moment of our association of satsang. And where are we today? What are we doing? Because I often find that when we celebrate Baba Muktananda's birthday, we celebrate his Mahasamadhi, when we celebrate something, people always want to go to, it was so wonderful then. So does that mean it is not wonderful now? It's a question. I think, in my experience, the Guru was always alive, is always alive, will always be alive. Our problem becomes we get stuck with a particular individual. We get stuck in a particular time. We have an intensive coming up. Devian has been after me. What is the topic? And so this morning she said, what is the topic? I said, understanding Baba. She said, okay. She said, understanding Baba Muktananda. I said, no, understanding Baba. Because I don't limit the Guru to simply the person Muktananda with whom I spent time in this life. Because we were together before, we were together now, and we will be together again. Names will change, forms will change, but that principle, that form of grace will continue to remain. I have to become attached not to the human, not to the person, which is where the issues begin, but to a principle that's far beyond all of that. Which my next poem explains. Baba used to love singing this. Banado buddhihin Bhagavan. The poet prays to the Lord, make me free of the intellect. This is a very strange poem if we begin to think about it, because all our life that's what we worked upon. We went to school, we work upon the intellect, and we work upon all of that. But he explains, he says, Tarka Shakti Sari hi Haralo, Haro Gyan Vigyan, Haro Sabhyata Siksha Samskriti, Naye Jagat Ki Gyan. All of this so-called logic, right, wrong, this, that, good, bad, do not do. He says, all of this that creates all of this duality, all of this separation, take away all of this box, he calls it too. He says, the training, the limitations, the culture, all of this that, I can't do this, I can't go there, I cannot, blah, blah, all of these things. So take away all of that, all of this knowledge that I have gathered in this lifetime. Vidya dhan mad haro, haro hare sabhi abhiman, niti bhiti se pind chudakar, karo saralata dan. I have acquired knowledge, I have acquired wealth, I have acquired arrogance. So take all of this away, all of this that makes my ego. Free me from the fear of what I think should be right, of what I think should do, should be done. And give me the charity of simplicity, of straightforwardness. If you remember a few years ago, we had a whole summer, simple was our topic. Yet, we realized over the few months as we had satsang, that simple was not so simple. Because again, we had to have our theory based upon an intellect of what we think is simple. We either act simple, we try to be simple, we force simple. Just be simple. But then again, we don't know that. Nahi chahiye bhog yog kuch nahi maan samman. Gramya gawar bana do trinasama. Deen nipat nirman. He said, I don't want all of this sense pleasures, all of these yogas, all of this honoring, these awards, all of these things that becomes a part of life. Make me a simpleton. And because this is in the bhajan, he says, like a village person. Make me like grass. We all stomp upon grass, we cut grass, but yet the grass never complains. It just keeps growing, it keeps growing. So, create this, that which is free of all of this. Bardo hriday bhakti shraddha se karo prem ka daan. Prem sindhu nij madhya dubakar meto naam nishan. Now he prays that fill this heart with devotion, with trust. The charity of love. Sink me into the ocean of love and let me be immersed in the midst of that and forget whatever identity I believe I have. Forget whatever identity I believe I have. So as we lived and spent time in the company of Baba Muktananda and heard all of these things, I'm sure for me in those years, again being young, being new, being all of this, you'd hear this and then you think about it. Somebody would talk about it at a meal table or as you walked back and forth, and you begin to ask yourself, you begin to wonder to yourself, how do I do all of this? And that's why I feel constant contemplation, constant all of the things that we must do to bring our mind to a place of, as he says, immersed in the ocean of devotion, immersed in the ocean of love. So when we think of Baba Muktananda, somebody might say he loved meditation. Somebody might say he loved chanting. Somebody might say he loved work, karma, seva. so many things. And then the question arises, which one of it is true? And so always think, and I think I shared this last week, if you look at all our buildings here, they all have glass windows or doors on all sides. So you can look at any which side, you have the stream, you have the hills or the mountains, you have the road. So which side is true? We're surrounded by it all. So Baba Muktananda, in his own life, I believe, tried and practiced everything. From Hatha Yoga to Ayurveda to devotion, chanting, seva. And he felt that an individual must perform all of these various aspects in his or her life and not get limited to think that this is all I must do. And to really, I think, come to that place of yearning to understand that sage, that guru, that great being, so that the mind simply ponders over the teaching. And the poet says, "Aapke bina bechain ho, nahi chain pal bhar hai mujhe, nahi yukti koi pa rahi, kis taur paऊं मैं आपको." Well, we might think that he or she is talking about an individual. I think the yearning is for that knowledge, is for the experience. That without that connection, without that relationship, there is restlessness. And even for a moment, the restlessness does not go away. The question in the mind is, how do you attain? How do you come to that place? Because all of these methods, techniques, practices that are being given don't seem to bear fruit. Because he says, "Aapke bina prabho jeena na mujhko bhavata, main dhoonti firu aapko, aap ho rahe ho lapata." Without you, O Lord, I don't want to live this life. I don't enjoy living this life. And as I keep looking for you, you keep disappearing. As I keep looking for you, you keep disappearing. मैं रात दिन आहे भरूं, आपको पता है या नहीं, मैं है प्यास आपके दर्श की, यह बात कहती हूँ सही. I wait all day and night. I'm waiting all the time. I don't know if you know this. He or she is asking the Lord. I don't know if you know this, that I am waiting. The eyes simply want to have your darshan, simply would love to see you. And this is my truth. This is what I seek. अब भी है गर शक तो दिल आपके पास है. अब भी है शक अगर तो दिल आपके पास है. नजर उठाकर देख लो, हाजिर खड़ी धास है. She says, if you doubt this, what I am saying, this heart, this being is with you. You simply have to look that I am there. So oftentimes poet saints put the onus upon whether it's the God, whether it's the Guru, the one you love, to say, I am there. Always thinking of you, always in your presence, wishing to be in your company. And if you have a doubt, then just look and you will find me there. All of this takes a long time to come to really grasp. Because we have the intellect, we have the mind, we have the training, we have so much of I. And here that I is basically gone, because that being, that person has just dissolved themselves in their love of their Guru, of their God. So, as I talk about all this, I realize that even talking is funny. Because if you've never been to the ocean, if you've never gone into the depths of the ocean, if you've never taken a boat way out into the middle of the ocean, and the captain has anchored the boat and said, now jump into the ocean, then you will not understand any of this. Because if you've always sat at the edge of the beach, or maybe even just seen it on television, it is only an imagination. So if we want to understand what these poet saints say, I know you're going to ask me, should I go on a boat and get anchored? And yes, I think it would be good on a physical level to do that. And when you go down a few feet, open your eyes and look, there is nothing but water, water, water. And don't go just in 5 feet deep and say, I did that. You have to be not able to stand. Now you want to ask me, did I do this? Yes, I have done this, and therefore I'm sharing. I can't remember exactly where, but somewhere in warm waters. We were a few of us, and somebody decided one day we would go spend a day on the boat. So we left in the morning and we came back in the evening. So they anchored somewhere and they said, now swim as much as you want. You can jump off, you can jump back on, you can jump off, you can jump back on. And so, having experienced that, you realized, we read all of these things, see God in each other, God dwells within you. But unless that has actually taken place inside yourself, it is simply words, it is simply a conversation, which is also good. I don't deny that. But Baba Muktananda's stress was upon the direct experience. He wanted that you chant and enjoy the chant. He wanted that you meditate and you enjoy the meditation. He wanted that you work and you enjoy your work. He wanted that you study, you enjoy the study. You wanted that you had conversations, you enjoy the conversations. That we are not like we are living today. We are walking with somebody, but we are busy on the phone. We are sitting with somebody, but we are busy watching television. We are not really enjoying the company of the other. And we all know this. Nobody needs to tell us. Because the truth is, I am stuck in my box, and in my box I have my own insecurities. I have my own fears. I have my own issues, and I don't know who to deal with or how to deal with it. I'm not saying come to me, because I'm not good at that at all. Let me be clear. Counseling is not my forte. I can counsel myself, that's good enough. And I think each one of us, if we can counsel ourselves, because we are really our own best counselor. Because when people tell me, I don't know, or I didn't know, I think that's not true. I know when I'm being mean. I know when I'm being kind. I know when I'm being loving. I know when I'm being friendly. I don't know, something happened this morning and I said to Divyani, I said, don't trouble until... I'm hoping the audience, but I guess you're all behind masks, so I don't know which mask you're wearing today. Because the Japanese say we have 3 masks. One for family, one for society, one for ourselves. And now we have a fourth one, which is at least real. We know you have a mask. If you don't have one, you just have to do this, and then you always have one. So sometimes when somebody comes, like when Toshani came the other day, I said, I want to make sure you are Toshani. She's like, yeah. I said, I just want to make sure that you're not your sister. She said, why? I said, well, just to be sure. Because when we hide, we love it now. Now we can really hide. Before we had to hide, now we don't have to. We can just go in front, and the bigger the mask, the better the hiding. And the question really is to ask ourselves, what am I hiding from? What are my fears? What are my insecurities? Why is it that I'm living life like this? Because at the end of the day, or at the end of this life, each one of us will leave this physical form taking nothing of this physical world. What I take is what goes with me in my subtle and causal bodies, the impressions I create within myself. And that is what will go with me. I'll end with a poem. The poet saint explains this philosophy of Baba Muktananda's see God in each other, God dwells within you as you. He says, Atma sagar ke vikhe nana deha tarang swatah utat aur mitat hai upajat na kachu bhang upajat na kachu bhang aap mein aap samana देखो सोच विचार कह है आना जाना कहाँ है आना जाना धर्मदास सत्य जाना नहीं कुछ वस्तु अनात्मा जो कुछ देखो सुनो सभी है पूर्ण आत्मा. He compares this universe to the ocean of consciousness, the ocean of the self. And he said, all of these various forms that we see are like waves that are created in the ocean. They arise, they subside, they arise, they subside. And all of that is what takes place within the ocean. There is nothing created other than what is already there. There is nothing really destroyed. The wave arises in the ocean, exists in the ocean, subsides in the ocean. So if nothing is created, nothing is destroyed, it simply becomes one with itself. Just think about it. Where is there any coming and going? O Dharmadas, understand the truth. There is nothing other than the self. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, everything is the self. This is again what Baba Muktananda, through and through all of his talks, all of his programs and everything, reminded us to simply sit in the experience of the self. We study any scripture, we pick up any scripture, this is where it comes to the existence of consciousness. Baba Muktananda had a quote he often used for an intensive, was Atma dadikam kimasti tattva. What principle is greater than the self? What principle is greater than consciousness? There is nothing else really greater than consciousness. So consciousness was, consciousness is, consciousness will be. So when we think, when we ask ourselves what is real, the real only is consciousness. Everything else rises, subsides, is born, disappears. So we'll chant Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. I thought that was a good way to remember Baba Muktananda. We've done, as Devyani said, every evening the chanting of Hare Rama, Hare Krishna after the Shiva Mahimna. We have done 24 hours of Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. We have done 7 days and one time for 14 days. And I'm sure there are places still around India for sure, and possibly around the world, where you will find constant chanting, constant singing. And as this chanting and singing happens, the place, the vibration of the space changes first. Then the vibration of the people who are chanting changes. Then the vibration of those who go in and out changes. And all of this slowly, over time, you see it happening, you see it changing. So we'll chant for about 20-30 minutes. We invite everybody to sing. Clap, as Devyani said, you can sing behind the mask. And don't hide behind the mask, sing behind the mask. And just enjoy yourself to go to that place. Because this is a mantra that has been sung for generations. And it is said that in this age that we live, it says, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Iva Kevalam, Kalo Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva Gatiranyatha. The name of Hari, the name of Hari, the name of Hari is the one means, is the one method. And in this Kali Yuga, nothing else will give you the momentum. So we'll take 30 minutes to build up momentum, right? So clap, sway, for a moment forget the box, at least expand the box to a few inches on this side, a few inches on this side, a few inches forward, a few inches backwards. Because if you'll not get dizzy, don't worry about that. Because you have to do this. The music has to move you. Otherwise, if you remain stoic, you'll be frozen by the end of the chant. So at least it's a way to warm up. First the external and then the interior. So everybody, anywhere you are, sing along, right? Don't think that sitting at home, just looking at the TV and watching them singing. No. We want you to sing. We want you, wherever you are, to change the vibration of the space wherever you are. I know in some places it's late at night. Some places probably early in the morning. But we invite you to sing. And the most important thing is smile as you sing. And then as you smile, somebody else might smile. And then tell them to keep smiling. And then as they smile, maybe somebody else smiles. And then in a few hours, you'll meet somebody else who is smiling and you'll wonder why they are smiling. And then you will realize that you were the one who was smiling and that went around. Therefore, that smile has come back to you. So even behind the mask, you could smile. Not a fake smile, not the toothpaste smile, but a smile that comes from the depths of your being. So thank you all for joining us here this morning. We'll continue our satsangs for the next month or so and continue to enjoy those who are able to come, those who are able to participate, and will stay online. Sadhguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. So men Hare Rama and the women Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare. धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरु रायाची झाले वर सुरवर विमान उतर याची सद्गुरु रायाची झाले वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची सद्गुरु रायाची झाले वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची सद्गुरु रायाची वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची गुरु भजनाचा महिमा रखले आगम Sadguru Raya Tila Varasuravara Vimano Taraya Sadhguru Jyota se Jyota jagavo, mera antar mera jagavo. Sadhguru Jyota se Jyota jagavo, Jyota se Jyota jagavo. Sadhguru Jyota se Jyota jagavo, mera antar mera jagavo. Sadhguru Jyota se Jyota jagavo, Jyota se Jyota jagavo. Sadhguru Jyota se Jyota jagavo, mera antar mera mitavo. Sadhguru Jyota se Jyota jagavo. Tvameva mata cha pita, tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha, tvameva, tvameva vidya, dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Durakaro dukkha tara sabha, daya karo Bhagavan, mana mandira mein ujjwala tera nirmala gyan chisakar meno arati charana kamala chitala chanari vasa kare jyota nanda jagat chahan bhakta kirtana kare bae prema darya chanari Sravana kare satya lokasya sab kuch diya apne benta karunyana namaskar ki benta karum jod mein dono haath namaskar ki benta karum jod mein dono haath. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai.
So this concludes our Sunday morning satsang, the third one during Gurudev's visit. So thank you all for being here and making the effort to come here. And also I would like to, a special thank you to all of you for honoring the protocols that are currently in place here so that we can make the ashram available to everybody so that every single person who wishes to come for Gurudev's darshan and to attend the satsang can do so. by all of us taking those precautions. And especially since we have people here from all over. So we're happy to have Girijan residents from Florida. We have a group from Maryland. We have Shantabenan family from Long Island. We have the Chaudhrys. We have the Connecticut contingency with Rolf and Nina. And we have Nandita and Alejandro, New Jersey, Westchester, Delaware. We have people from all over. So it's wonderful to be able to offer the satsang and Gurudev's darshan to everybody. But again, thank you all. I know that some of the protocols can be whatever they are, but at least with everybody following them, we can continue to meet here each week and enjoy Gurudev's presence while all of us remain safe. Also, today's Bandara is offered by the Sharmas and the Shoris in honor of Gurudev's upcoming birthday. So we thank all of you for your efforts in bringing all of the prasad from there to here for everybody to enjoy. We also have Diane Gibson's birthday over there from the South Fallsburg, Hurley area, Sullivan County. So happy birthday to you. And with that, I would like to invite everybody for October 31st, which will be the intensive in honor of Baba's Mahasamadhi, October 31st. And the topic, as you heard, is Understanding Baba. So that will be the subject of that day. We are going to be taking 40 people here in person. So for those of you who haven't signed up yet and wish to do so, please see Nicheshwari today, because as you can imagine, it's filling up very, very quickly. And the rest of, for everyone else, we'll have that available to you on November 1st, which is Sunday, and that YouTube link will be available until November 5th. So you can participate virtually as well for that. And the online study groups continue. We have Nicheshwari for the Spanish speaking on Baba's book, Secret of the Siddhas, every Monday. And Dana will be starting up again in November 21st, on the Shiva Sutras. So for those of you who want to go back to your studies and have wonderful teachers to be able to do that with, that's available to you. And then we have Larry Holmes with the Heart and the Spiritual Journey. And that's on the first Thursday of every month. I would like to conclude with Baba's words, and they are from his book, I Love You. Look for everything within yourself. Everything is inside you. Increase and enhance this awareness. Learn how to become ecstatic inside yourself. The one you are looking for is you. The one you want to attain is you. So with that, we'll conclude our Sunday morning satsang. We look forward to seeing everybody and all the other faces that are registered for next week, next Sunday morning, 9 to 12. And with that, everybody's invited to have lunch prasad. And for those of you who are here for the first time since Gurudev arrived, lunch prasad is served out in the pavilion. Just respect the social distancing as you line up. And then for everyone, there are the tables outside on the porch here. They're the tables in the dining room that will come back into their configuration to serve everyone. And then there's also a courtyard directly behind Gurudev here. So if you want to spread out, there's plenty of tables in the courtyard here. So you just go down the hallway towards the restrooms on your right. And there's another space there. And there's also the beautiful lawn out there. So enjoy your lunch prasad. Sadgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.